grass underneath our feet, except, John, if you could just kind of pan around and just show the sheen. This is glare ice that is up here, and John is slipping right now at the camera, and I'm going to reach out and grab him and stabilize him so he doesn't fall over. But that's how slick it is. It is glare ice where we are standing right now. We are slipping and sliding to be able to show you this. And there's a reason that we're showing you this, what it's like right here on the ground, because the protesters aren't necessarily against standing here to protest as well. It has more to do with the fact that they're not able to because it is so iced over. Now, what I'll say is that it did rain last night. It got warm enough that rain was able to fall. That rain would have frozen overnight, creating some of these icy conditions. However, what the protesters are claiming is that it was federal agents who actually flooded this area overnight to allow it to ice over. We don't have any direct proof of that, but what I will point out is that this is not the only sidewalk stretch here in this area. There's sidewalks on the other side of the street. There's sidewalks down that way, sidewalks back behind me here, all of which are mostly clear. Don't get me wrong, there are some slick spots where there is some ice that is formed, but not a hockey rink like what we see out here, a thick layer of ice across the sidewalks. Not just a little sheen of rain that froze over, but a thick layer of ice. The other thing that I want to point out here is these concrete barriers. John, I won't make you move very far since it is so slippery out here. But you see this lineup of concrete barriers. These were just put here this morning. John and I have been out here a couple of times already today as we've been keeping an eye on these protests to see how they develop. And we watched some of these concrete barriers be trucked in. And this is very reminiscent of the scene in Broadview, Illinois, just outside Chicago, where we were on the ground for 2 months. And really, this seems to be a federal effort to put up these barricades. But the protesters were trying to challenge the placement of these barricades because they feel that, much like in Broadview, Illinois, that these barricades are going to be created to pen in protesters so that they cannot do what they are doing now, which is going out into the street and directly challenging the federal agents across the way there. They don't want to be corralled in these spaces, so they tried to challenge the placement of those barricades, but many of them have gone up nonetheless. And that is part of a pattern that we are noticing. The way that so much of what we are seeing happen on the ground here in Minnesota is so similar to what we have seen happen on the ground in other American cities that have been directly targeted by the Trump administration with these immigration crackdowns, with the pain that is being inflicted on these communities. We're seeing these same patterns, not only here with the concrete barricades, but also with Renee Good's killing in Chicago. An ICE agent shot and killed a man in Chicago, and a Border Patrol agent shot another woman 5 times. She thankfully survived, but that cycle of violence is now repeating here in Minneapolis. Many of the tactics that the community is using to push back, forming signal groups, etc., as our camera itself slips there on the ice. I'm going to get us off the ice here in just a second because of that. But those same tactics are now repeating themselves. In the Chicago area, it was the Broadview, Illinois ICE detention facility that became the site of near continuous protest activity, because that is where ICE was staging, or immigration enforcement agents were staging many of their operations in the Chicago area. And now the same thing happening here at the Whipple Federal Building just outside of Minneapolis in Fort Snelling. So right now you're hearing chanting coming from the protesters. I want to give you one last piece of lay of the land here, John, if we can, ever so gingerly and slowly slip and slide our way back down onto the asphalt where we can get maybe a better grip on the ground here. And you'll have to bear with us here, folks, because I don't want to rush John as he slides down there, and helped by a number of people. Yeah, some of the experienced Minnesotans here are telling us that they've got cleats actually on the ice spikes on the bottoms of their boots to be able to handle these conditions. So they are prepared. But there's one thing I want to show you here, John. I want to show the yellow stripe on the road. You'll see here, this is a great time to show it, but there is, John, if you want to just turn the camera around, you see this yellow stripe here on the road. And you can almost see that the protesters are walking, with some exceptions who are now on the other side of it. Most of the protesters staying here to the right side of the road, behind that yellow line. That is for a very specific reason. Those federal police that are inside that building have come out and directly told the crowd that this is the line in the sand, that crossing this will merit a response from the federal agents beyond. So on occasion, you will see the protesters doing what they are doing right now, which is stepping over this line, walking up towards that fence line, and shouting directly in challenges to the federal agents beyond, the way they are right now. Earlier, we listened to a man shout at the federal agents who are right now, it looks like, waiting in their cars. They've been using cars to stay out of the cold, challenging those agents to come out, be in the cold directly along with the protesters.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we're going to watch here. And John, there's a vehicle coming here. We're going to watch this vehicle come in here. It's still an active roadway, so you see plenty of people who are not federal agents using it, but you also see many federal agents also using the road. And you see you think the protesters think that they have identified an ICE agent, they're saying, and yep, it is somebody who has a face mask on inside that vehicle. So one protester there just throw like a cold cut, deli meat of some kind at the vehicle. You're hearing protesters shout right now, say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here. John's giving the whole lay of the land here of the crowd. We'll be going in here and interviewing many of these people in just a moment. I just wanted to start with just really giving you the sense of space here before it got chaotic, if it was going to.
Your mother shall swallow. I want to see the response. This is what happens when you hurt one of us. Injure one, injure all. Injure one, injure all. Injure one, injure all.
Double tapping, it's going double tapping, it's going to show the light, show the light, double tapping, it's going to show the light.
Injure one, injure all. 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 Hey, ICE, we
your mother shall swallow. Your mother shall swallow. You should have been aborted. You should have been aborted. Your mother shall swallow. Your mother shall swallow. Your mother shall swallow.
I should also say before we dive in here to the interviews, I do want to. We do have to pay the bills here around here at Status Quo because it costs us $10,000 or more a month to be on the ground in these communities the way we have been for the last many months, covering the Trump administration's immigration crackdown on so many communities here in this country. Being in Chicago, in Charlotte, in LA, in Minneapolis now costs us a lot. If you value being able to get this on the ground perspective of what it's actually like in these communities, not just the propaganda that is being pumped out by the Trump administration and the Department of Homeland Security, go to statusquo.com/join for as low as $5 a month. You go to support our operations, go to keep us editorially independent, one, and two, well-funded and on the ground here in Minneapolis so that we can continue to tell these stories. We were here long before the murder of Renee Good. We will continue to follow the fallout afterwards. We don't just parachute in, tell one story, and leave. There's a lot of press that showed up here just today. I will note, just yesterday, today, we have been sustained on the ground here. We want to continue to be able to do that. So please, statusquo.com/join, $5 a month. That's as low as 16 cents a day to support independent journalism. And if you're not able to support us financially, the other thing you can do, like this stream, share it out. It really does a lot to indicate to the algorithms that this is something inherently valuable that needs to be shared with more people. Yeah, we're going to walk up here to the fence line a little bit closer just to be able to show you some of those security agents who are inside there. You can see them there in the fatigues, camouflage that many of them are wearing. Some outfitted like more traditional police, though, with like the combat helmet and riot shield get-up, but others with the full face mask, the full camouflage. We saw them when they were out earlier directly confronting the crowd for a moment. Yeah, we're seeing agents move around pretty quickly right now, trying to get a sense for what they're doing. Looks like they are moving the vehicles. Yeah, something's going on with the vehicles. Yeah, we're seeing the vehicles peeling around, moving very quickly. Not sure exactly where they're going or why, but yeah, we were just looking at those agents to describe exactly how they would look, so you got a sense for the scene there, and then all of a sudden, boom, something switched, and they took off, moving very quickly. Many are still staying out here to provide security for the crowd, I'll point out, but at least it looked like many of them drove back towards the Whipple Federal Building, further back in the parking lot. Seems like maybe you're seeing some more movement of vehicles that are coming. Yeah. Right now, John is working the phones at the same time that he's operating this live to try and get more information about what might be happening out in the community while we're here reporting live. So that just goes to show the way that we try and really multitask and really punch above our weight here at Status Quo. To be able to be out in these communities, to bring you multiple stories at the same time. We're getting information on the phone right now. That's what John's doing, in addition to filming me, and I'm trying to just give you the scenes and the bullet points and talk through everything that's happening while he's doing that. All the while, keeping our heads on the swivel to try and remain safe, because obviously when you see the federal agents act with that sort of urgency, makes you a little nervous, as even just as a journalist here to cover things. You know, we're journalists, we're here to just do a job, but that doesn't mean that we don't get hit with the same cloud of tear gas that all the protesters do. That's why we've got, John and I both have respirators, we've got goggles to protect our eyes. I've also got a helmet here hanging at my side, try and offer as much protection to ourselves as we can, while still getting the story for you. We don't shy away just because, things get a little excited, a little hairy. Saw that in the multi-hour stream that John did yesterday here from the Whipple Federal Building. Still looking. I'm seeing some more movement here in the parking lot, but it looks right now that that's just like semi-truck traffic moving some materials in. The more of the concrete barricades that we showed you that were set up just across the street. Seems like they're just moving some more of those in right now. They've got the little crane truck that they use to lift them up off of a flatbed and place them down. That's what's moving in there right now. But these protesters are now feeling a lot more confident to be able to walk across the line, many of them, because they're not getting that direct pushback. And in fact, you're seeing many more now moving across the road, moving across that yellow line that they've been told by federal agents, moving right up to the fence line. And this is the pattern that we've seen play out. They move right up to the fence line, challenge. They do that until the federal agents start to approach, and then they move back. And this is the push and pull that happens out here.
We will not put up with that. Say it once, say it twice. We will not put up with that. Say it once, say it twice. We will not put up with that.
Double tap on your screen, share the live,
Did you mind if I interviewed you?
like it, double tap on your screen, share the live.
We will not put up with
Status
that.
Quo, online independent progressive outlet.
We would like to vote.
Yeah. What's your name, man?
Michael?
Michael, nice to meet you. I'm JT. This is my cameraman, John. So, Michael, can you explain for people who aren't here right now, why is it important to be able to protest, right outside of the Whipple building? Why is this the place where you want to make your voice heard?
There are only so many places in this city where you can track these folks down. I think it's important for Minneapolis as a city to show who we are And if we can do that in numbers like places like this, that's why this is important. They're going to keep us back with barricades like those that they're setting up right now because they have no defense other than physical force and cement to explain their actions. But we as a community need to be here to show them, to point out to these agents that they're not helping us. They are not keeping us safe right now.
And Michael's pointing out some concrete barricades brought in on those trucks that I was just describing to you, and those concrete barricades that we just showed you a minute ago that are on the other side of the street where we are. As I walked up on you, I interrupted you. You're putting on your face mask. Why'd you feel like now was the time to put on the goggles?
Well, they have some ideas about where we are and I'm supposed to be, and I think they don't think I'm supposed to be where I am right now. So
why is it important for you to challenge their idea of where you should and should not be allowed to protest?
Trying to find good trouble.
Sorry?
Trying to find some good trouble.
Trying to find some good trouble. I assume put some sand in the machine a little bit here, try to get the Trump administration to expend some resources here on this crowd rather than on continuing to abduct people out of the community as well.
You know, for me, I don't think we're going to beat the Trump administration. I really don't. I think the Trump administration has more guns than we ever will. But I do think that maybe we can get to the minds and the psyches of some of these people that are working for them as individuals, make them look at that video, make them realize they are not making our community safe. They should know in their hearts government is here to keep us safe, and that's not what they're doing. And they just need to see that from all of us here.
Michael, can you give us a little bit of your Twin Cities area bona fides? You know, whereabouts do you live? How long have you called this place home?
I've lived in the Twin Cities for about 15 years. I know the communities like South Minneapolis, where that shooting occurred, are some of the worst places in this country to display that kind of violence. And I know that we are going to fight back against it.
When you saw the video of Renee Good being murdered by the Trump administration, what were the first emotions that you felt?
For me, I think I personally believe it's important to know what happened, to know the facts. And so while I was initially outraged when I heard something happened, I tried to keep my calm. I tried to wait. I knew there'd be videos. It's 2026. I found the videos. It was clear to me what happened. I don't understand why there's any ambiguity there. Some of our leaders are saying they don't know, and it's too bad that that's the process that we have, that they need to couch their language like that. The New York Times has done analysis of the videos from multiple angles. They are sure that vehicle was not causing harm to that agent who applied lethal force and murdered one of my community members.
We're now 2 days removed from that killing. In that time, how has your feelings changed, if at all? How has time, perspective, has it changed the way you feel about what has happened or what your response needs to be?
Yeah, you know, I do have to think about that every day. I was out, obviously, the day that it happened. The challenge is asking myself, am I going to keep coming out every day and for how long, right? And yeah, I think that I woke up this morning and I was like, if I'm not out here, I'm part of the problem. I had to reflect, and the answer was I can't just like let them keep doing what they're doing. So yeah, it did. Time has let me settle with it, but the answer is very clear to me that we can't give up.
Where does this end? Just yesterday, a border patrol shot 2 more people in Portland. Where do you see this going in the short term? How do you see us pulling out of this spiral, if we even can?
Yeah, I agree. It's a very volatile situation right now. I think if there are any major missteps on either side of these lines, we could find ourselves in a very dangerous place. And yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember the rest of the question.
No, I think you kind of answered it there. I guess maybe the only thing I would prompt you on a little bit more is just, do you see any way out of this? Well, we're seeing more border patrol. Michael, thank you very much for talking to me. I'll let you go since we need to keep you safe as well.
Oh boy!
You see here the federal law enforcement now making their way across the parking lot. This is how it goes. The protesters will cross that line of the middle of the road. Stand out here, hearing some loud bangs. Hearing some loud bangs. It sounded like they were firing some pepper balls, maybe just at the ground there for a moment. But again, you see the federal law enforcement there just moving out, coming out here onto the grass. You see them here clearing off the grass, and the protesters moving back now, moving back to that yellow line, moving back across the yellow line, the middle of the road. They're shooting pepper balls just shy of the crowd right now.
John and I have put our masks on.
Shame on you, you traitorous scum! Shame! Shame on you! How you gonna shoot little old ladies with pepper balls? You fucking coward! You couldn't join the Marines! Why don't you join the Marines? You fucking pussy little bitches! Shame on you! Look at you! What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, the pepper is thick in the air right now. Because John and I didn't have our masks on immediately, and the pepper ball sent up a puff of pepper into the air. We got a good lungful before we were able to get our masks even tentatively secured the way mine is. I'm just holding mine up over my face right now. John's resecuring his protective equipment as well, just as we readjust. But now, having been able to take a few deep, clean breaths through my respirator and feeling better, and you see some of these protesters after initially being cowed by the pepper balls, they're coming right back out to shout. I'll let you listen in.
Constitution, you just pepperballed a combat infantry veteran for my First Amendment right, for practicing our constitutional rights. You are traitors. Every one of you is a traitor. Fuck you, Nazis! Fuck you, you traitorous fat fucking piece of shit! Quit your job! Quit your job! Quit your job! Shame on you, you traitors! Every single one of you is a traitor to the Republic! Every single one of you is a traitor to the Constitution! Did you not swear an oath to the Constitution, or do you fucking Nazis not do that? There's a reason you're wearing masks, you cowardly little bitches! Fuck you! Fuck you, you Nazis! Fuck you for your betrayal of the people of America! We all hate you! America hates you, cowards! Shame! Shame on you, you fucking Nazi scum! Why did I fight Al-Qaeda for you to fucking destroy our country? Osama bin Laden won because of you! Because of you! Look at this fucking pudgy little bitch with an M4 for an unarmed fucking crowd. Quit your job. Fuck you, you Nazi! Fuck you, you shitbags! You are all shitbags! Fuck you, you bag of dicks! You are such scumbag fucking assholes! Fuck you, Nazis! Go back to your fucking homes! Go back to your loved ones and stop raping the people! Quit your job! Quit your job! Quit your job!
Double tap on your screen and share the live, share the live, share the live. Double tap on your screen and share the live.
Quit your job! 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 Are you afraid to swing your hammer like the Latinos you have from Johnson? You
share the live, share the live, share the live, share the live. Double tap on your screen, double tap on your screen. Share the live. Like the live stream, like it.
John and I are just taking a moment here to better adjust our protective equipment, just to be sure that there aren't gaps in our respirators or in our goggles, so that we're staying safe. We see a lot of these protesters out here without a lot of that protective equipment. Again, this goes to what we saw, this pattern where things repeat themselves in city after city right now, where a lot of these protesters show up without the goggles, without the masks, without helmets, and then as the protests go on, just like what we saw in Broadview, more and more people began to outfit themselves with this protective equipment. And so we're seeing a lot of protesters right now without any of that equipment. And you'll see them move back when those pepper balls are first fired because of the sting, and then moving back up as they can once the immediate effects of the pepper balls subside, which is a stinging of the throat for the most part, making you cough. As I'm sure you heard me do there on the microphone a few times.
Stand down, give us a rest.
Hi, Case.
My grandma.
Hi. Care to explain why you guys showed up at my house last night? At least I'm pretty sure it was you. I've never seen two silver Tahoes parked.
And if you're appreciative of John and I standing out here reporting on this scene, despite the pepper in the air that threat of federal force being directed at these protesters, and while it didn't feel like we were directly targeted there, like I said, we still feel the effects. We still get hit with the same cloud of pepper that hits everybody else. If you're appreciative of the work that we're doing to be able to bring you this scene, best thing you can do is statusco.com/join. For as low as $5 a month, you go to support John and I's work here on the ground and our whole Status Quo team, be able to bring you these reports on the ground journalism, which is so vanishingly rare in today's society. We'd be grateful and really appreciate to have your support. I think we're earning it today. I'm going to try and talk to some of the protesters here about what just happened and if they feel like this force was needed. Pardon me, man. Pardon me, sir. I'm a reporter. Would you mind if I interviewed you about the use of force that the feds are using right now, and if you feel like it's justified?
I've only been here like a couple hours. Not good.
Well, I'm only going to interview you about the last 10 minutes, if that's all right.
You wanted me to interview what?
I was only going to interview you about the last 10 minutes.
Oh, were they just locked up and shot?
Yeah. Would you mind? Ask you just a few questions? Sure. What's your name, man?
Mike Morrell?
Mike. Nice to meet you, Mike. My name's JT. Sorry, I just got to get my stuff off my head. All right, I'm standing here with Mike. Mike, I'm assuming that's common spelling?
Yeah.
All right. So, Mike, if I could get you to just describe where you were when the federal agents came out here and started using the pepper balls and moving everybody back.
I was just at the yellow line here. They came up and then they started to use the pepper bombs so that we would back up.
Yeah.
So,
did you feel like that use of force was justified, was necessary?
well, I don't really know if that walkway is public or not, but apparently yesterday they were allowing the protesters on there, and then today they forced us back. And we're pretty sure that they iced down that walkway.
Yeah, and that's what we were just telling you about earlier. That walkway is completely covered in ice behind us, despite other walkways here not being covered in that same thick layer of ice. Makes the protesters think that it's the federal government that came out here and directly iced those sidewalks as a way to try and dissuade the protesters or perhaps kettle them more into the street. So, Mike, I want to just sort of draw a distinction here because I think for people who aren't out at scenes like this, they don't understand the effects of of pepper balls and stuff. Did you feel the same sting in the air that for instance, what I'm really trying to draw is there are some people who are standing on one side of the yellow line. You were standing behind it, ostensibly following the rules that they set up for the protesters today, though you acknowledge that those are changing rules day to day. Yep. But did you feel the same puff of air, the sting in the throat?
Yeah, that was actually the first time I've ever had that happen, and I was Yeah, it was unpleasant.
Yeah, so you're somebody who's following the rules, quote unquote, and you still get hit with the same consequences as everybody else who standing on the other side of what seems to be an arbitrary, though painted line on the ground. Mike, can you just describe some of those sensations of what it's like to be pepperballed for someone who hasn't been out at a protest like this?
Well, it's if you ever had really, really spicy food, it's just a very aggravating sensation all throughout your nose, lungs, and mouth and esophagus. So,
something that you can shake off and continue back to your protesting as the way you are right now.
Yeah, I mean, I just had to cough it out for a little while. So
can you just walk me through the sign that you're holding and why you felt the need to be out here today?
Well, mostly I put leave now because I couldn't fit state indictment because I do not trust the federal government to actually have a clean and fair investigation as to what happened yesterday with Renee Good. And so I don't want ICE here. We don't need them here. Please leave.
So on that note, what's your feelings about hearing that the FBI is not allowing local officials to conduct their own investigation, that it will be the federal government investigating itself as to whether or not its killing of Renee Good was justified?
Yeah, that always works, obviously. That's one of the reasons I'm here.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Had you been someone who would go out to protest movements in the past? Is there something unique about now? Walk me through a little bit of your personal history and why you felt compelled to be out here.
So I was living in South Minneapolis when George Floyd was killed. And we did go to a couple protests then. Now, I didn't have the heart to watch the videos of George Floyd. This time I felt it was my duty to do so. And watching those videos, I don't think any reasonable person could think that that was justified amount of force. Like, for even if she was blocking the road purposefully, it didn't look like he got hit. Even if he did get nudged, the two shots that he fired when he was directly on the side seemed malicious. That's just something that I can't support. And the fact that within hours Kristi Noem was branding her a terrorist is just unacceptable.
Branding a mother a terrorist, a mother who had just dropped her kid off at school, branding her a terrorist, even though in the video you can see her trying to wave the ICE agents past her vehicle, and then they come up to her, which starts that whole interaction, and I think most people have seen the video at this point. When you see the way the federal government is comporting itself, even though it's claiming that its immigration enforcement actions here in Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, and cities across the country are about safety, but so many of these cities now, we've seen it just yesterday in Portland, the day before here in Minneapolis, down in Chicago on 2 different occasions, people being shot by these federal agents. I'm not even going to ask you if you think that it's making your community safer. I think that, you would just end up laughing at me if I asked you that question at this point. But looking forward into the future, do you see any way of kind of pulling the nose up on this plane, so to speak, on trying to pull us out as a country from this very dark spiral that we seem to be in right now?
That's something that I've been thinking a lot about because, accountability is an issue, but the pendulum is going to swing. So if we are aggressive as our opponents, then it's just going to keep swinging farther and farther. So I don't have any answers on that regard. I just want to make sure that I come out and make my thoughts heard.
Make your thoughts heard. Are you making your thoughts heard to your leaders at all? And do you feel like the opposition party in this country right now is doing an effective job at pushing back against the Trump administration?
Oh, you're talking about the Democrats?
Yes.
I don't know anybody that I talk to that is happy with the Democrats. I really think that they're trying to set up this red versus blue dichotomy, and it really comes down to me, people that own everything and people that own nothing. And I really think that it's important that we start to have some sort of equity among people so that we can make a living, because it's getting really, really tough out there for people, and it's unacceptable.
let's seize on that here for just a moment before I let you go. In what you're showing this world as a world of the haves and the have-nots. I think a lot of people would sympathize with that framing right now. In what ways in your day-to-day life are you seeing struggle, be that, economically, in terms of justice, however you want to frame that? What are the problems that are actually facing your life right now that the Trump administration could, if it wanted to, instead of spending billions upon billions of dollars on ICE, actually invest in people in your life to make a real difference?
So, having worked in corporate America, I really think that antitrust laws need to be more apparent. We're consolidating all of our corporate powers into very small entities, and it's just a lot of buzzwords, but it's just enshittifying a lot of our processes. We're not competitive worldwide, and we're not spending money on infrastructure or research into improving our futures. We're basically just stripping America for parts for the lucky few at the top that benefit from those things.
How do we stop that future from becoming reality?
Call your local senator. I don't know, man. That's one of the things. I'm out here. I want to get involved in local government. I want to not run, but I want to understand from a ground level, at least to make some small wins, because it looks untenable looking at from the federal view.
Michael, thank you very much for rolling with the punches here. As I initially pitched you on just talking about the last few minutes, and then we started talking about the problems facing the world and our future. So you work on those problems and let me know when you come up with solutions, and we'll do a second interview for you to roll those out. Thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add while you have the platform?
Fuck JD Vance.
In particular, is there a reason?
Before I came here, I was just watching what he was talking about with Renee, and it was just vile. It was vile.
Is there a particular accusation or anything he said that really struck a nerve?
I can't think about it. I'm sorry.
I won't make you relive that. I'll let you get back to your protest. Thank you very much, Mike, for talking to me. I appreciate it. Oh, we got breaking news coming in. Okay. Let's see. Of course, I just got another hail of pepper ball there in the air. Okay, so this is breaking news that we have coming in right now. Minnesota leaders are announcing today an investigation into the fatal shooting of Renee Good by ICE agent Jonathan Ross earlier this week here in Minneapolis. Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison announced the investigation after the FBI took sole ownership of investigating the shooting, which renewed tensions in the Twin Cities amid increased federal immigration enforcement. So local authorities are going to carry forward with their own investigation of the shooting. And we'll be getting folks' reaction to that here as we continue to report. But what we're hearing is that, yes, the state attorney general and local district attorney coming out and saying they will be investigating, and this will be taken. It won't just be relying on the federal government to investigate itself for a shooting that it perpetrated and and determining whether or not that shooting was justified. At a press conference this morning, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey echoed calls for local leaders to be involved in the investigation, addressing federal officials regarding the FBI taking sole ownership of the shooting probe. If you've got, and this is a direct quote from the mayor, if you've got nothing to hide from, then don't hide from it, the mayor said. And I'll note that this is after a quite concerted pressure campaign from people here in Minneapolis, in St. Paul, in the Twin Cities area, in the state of Minnesota, and across the country, putting pressure on the local officials here to demand justice for Renee Good, her family, and her community members who have been directly impacted by what has happened here in the Twin Cities area. This is a first step. Let's be clear. This is not guaranteeing that any sort of real justice is going to be merited out, but an investigation is a start. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison is asking the public for information on the deadly ICE shooting, asking the public to send further video evidence of the shooting if they have it. You've seen many of those videos, no doubt, on your social media feed. We've covered them here on Status Quo. The FBI collected Renee Nicole Good's car and has not given the Minneapolis Bureau of Criminal Apprehension access to the car or forensic evidence. So this investigation that local authorities are going to mount is going to have to be heavily reliant on community members coming forward and telling them what they saw and using the existing video evidence, where I will note that the New York Times already performed an extensive analysis of some of those videos and found that the agent, Jonathan Ross, had drawn his gun before Renee Good started to drive forward, already had that gun drawn, and then fired the shots while standing to the side of her vehicle, not directly being in the path of that vehicle. Still shot and killed her. So that is breaking news that is coming in just right now here in the last few minutes. I'll be getting reaction from some of these people in the crowd, but before I do, John, if you just want to swivel around just to show the status of where these federal agents are, since we didn't show them really during that last interview that we were doing over the last few minutes, that they are still out here staring down this crowd. And this is sort of the back and forth that we've seen. They'll come out, directly challenge the crowd, push the crowd back, maybe use things like flashbangs or shoot pepper balls. And then they'll move back a little ways. In previous interactions, we'd seen them go all the way back into the parking lot, into their cars, and sit inside those vehicles, presumably to stay warm, because it has been pretty cold out here this morning. But still staying out here and keeping a direct eye on these protesters, though I'll note that their presence just really agitates the protesters out here.
Okay, you will burrito if you quit. I promise.
Thanks, Jim. All right, I want to go find Kelly,
Good old Republican community.
This is my, behind you here is my cameraman, John.
Okay.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? Nice to meet you.
All right. So, Kelly, if I could just have you start. Spell your name for me, please.
My name is Kelly Gregg, Kellygregg.
I want to start, before we address, I think, the elephant in the room of ISIS presence in the community, what's been happening to your fellow community members. I want to start small. Can you just explain the jacket that you're wearing?
Yep. I got this. This was government issue. I was in the Navy, 81 to 85. I was in SEAL Team 4. I served combat experience. I was in Beirut in 1983 when the barracks blew up. We had to request permission. It had to go up the chain of command to put a bullet in a chamber in a rifle when we were getting shot at. It took time to go up the chain of command. And now it's a hair trigger, and these guys are locked and loaded with assault weapons. This doesn't look like anti-protesters. This looks like a militia. And they're not sending militias to Republican communities. They sent them to ours. We're a Democrat community. This is all about divide and conquer. This has nothing to do with immigration. Unfortunately, they're ripping our community apart, and they think that this is justified. No way.
You use the word militia to describe the federal, what's supposed to just be law enforcement, but yeah, it looks very militarized.
Look like law enforcement. How often do you see assault rifles being carried casually by these militia? You don't see that in the community. Our officers aren't dressed like this. FBI, do I typically see them dressed that way? No. You usually can't tell the difference with FBI. It's going to get noisy here soon.
Yeah, crowd getting noisy, shouting shame just towards the agents there across the street. Yeah. We're going to move back a little bit out of this crowd so that Kelly and I can have a little bit of a calmer conversation. So, Kelly, Off camera, you were telling me, that word militia that you used to describe them.
That's what they look like.
Yeah, that's what they look
I've
like.
seen
But
militias.
that's what I was setting you up.
And when I was in Beirut, there was the Shiite, there was the Phalange, there were Druze, there were a number of militias. That's what a militia looks like. I've seen them. I saw them as a Navy SEAL. I'm standing here. I'm a former Navy SEAL. Those guys yesterday were saying, no, you're not. Bullshit. I was in class 118. I started in an underwater demolition team, UDT 21. I'm a plank owner. I'm an original member of SEAL Team 4. This is 40 years on. And here I am wearing this jacket, serving my country, protesting that shit.
When you're referencing that you right now are serving your country by standing up against the government.
Absolutely.
What would you say to, I imagine that if I were able to interview some of those law enforcement officers over there, they might try to tell me, some of those agents might try to tell me that they are serving their country. What would be your message to them?
Tell me about the service. You're not going to Republican communities. You're going to Democrat communities. This isn't about people being here illegally. This is about destroy the community. This is about a president who is turning our country into a fascist state.
We're going to take a break here from talking to Kelly just because we're seeing the federal agents are moving down back into the road. Looks like they are. Yeah, we'll come back.
Why? What are you?
Shooting pepper balls at the foot of protesters who had walked back across the line.
Hide behind your fucking mask! Pussy, 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 pussy!
One of the protesters has sat down, putting up the peace sign with the fingers. Standing just on the other side of that yellow line.
Fucking coward! Quit your job! Quit your job!
And just that simple act of standing on one side of the yellow line in the street was enough to be met with force from federal agents. Seeing the federal agents taking a few steps back right now. Protesters, some of them edging forward just a step or two. Protesters yelling out right now to quit your job at the federal agents. Ask them if they feel better now, if they feel like a man for shouting or for shooting their weapons, shooting their pepper balls.
Quit your job! 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 Quit your job!
Just find better on the bear.
We're seeing one protester getting drops put in her eyes.
Get a bitch hiding behind a fucking gun in a bag. Fuck you, you Nazi piece of shit.
I was trying to pull my mask up. Yeah, she's got asthma. Got it in her eyes. I was trying to pull my mask up. I couldn't get it up in the chair. Oh, shit.
You really threw a woman in a wheelchair! In a fucking wheelchair!
I'm fucking proud of yourselves, you pieces of shit!
Are you just saying you threw a woman in a fucking wheelchair? You feel like a cold.
I got you. I was trying to get my mask off.
Woman keeps saying that she was trying to get her mask on, but the agents fired, and that cloud of pepper, it seemed, came into her eyes.
There are more guns than people in this country. It is time to get one, or two, or three. No, wherever she wants. You want to be right there? All right.
My apologies. Yeah. I'm trying to find him. Oh, there
Are
he
we
is.
not the people you swore to protect? What is going on? You look like stormtroopers.
Kelly, would you mind if we picked up our conversation again? Yeah. Kelly, we actually need to stay a little bit closer to the crowd in case things happen again. So, when we left off before the agents started firing pepper balls here at the crowd, you were just finished talking about some of your experience with militia. To see the federal government using deadly force
Against its own citizens.
in your community. I mean,
My community. This is home for me. The government didn't send these folks to Republican constituencies. They sent them to Democrat-leading constituencies.
so what's the message that's being sent there?
He's tearing us apart by design. And then he's gaslighting the things that are happening, the things that are on video. He's gaslighting us. This is absurd. It's psychotic. And that's Trump. You know, yesterday I heard an ICE agent saying they're taking out rapists and gangsters. Well, it's funny because the president was actually found guilty, I believe, of rape. Shouldn't they be after him? I find it ironic. And then they send these people to our community. This is not my idea of what doing your job is. This is my idea of you're just out making a buck. They're poorly trained. There has to be a sensitivity here. They're not in places in Texas. Don't you find that ironic? They're not in Florida. They're not in Texas. This is this is awful. I'm angry about what happened in Minneapolis this week. Why am I angry? Because a person, how do you get out of that situation? I mean, you're in your car and you're trying to get out of there. She meant no harm to them. I mean, she's a woman who's 37. She meant no harm to him, and they killed her, and that's just so wrong. I heard. I think it was you saying Ellingson is putting forth an investigation.
Yeah, local authorities are going to investigate the shooting.
Thank God. You know,
Why is that important to you?
because if the FBI and Kash Patel take this over, it'll never see the light of day. They've already made their judgment, and it's not a problem for them. The problem is it's in the face of reality. I don't know. I'm standing here looking down the face of a gun. I'm watching these guys. They've got assault rifles out. I'm watching community members get drugged by in the back of these cars, getting sent off to God knows where. And that's okay. These are the people who are probably...
See more agents get out. Targeting one of the protesters for arrest.
Firing more pepper balls at the feet of the crowd to keep them back as the federal agents are making these arrests.
This is what you signed up for? This is what you signed up for? Wait till you meet these. What the fuck are you
sudden movement of the vehicles just pulling up abruptly and then arresting these two. The agents pointed to the two that they arrested, directly pointed to them as if this were a targeted operation, jumped out, grabbed them, and quickly arrested them and established this perimeter where they're keeping the crowd back the way they are. Now you see how angry the crowd is in response, getting, keeping that little bit of space between them and the agents, but letting the agents know how they feel. A lot of people in the crowd yelling, "Fuck you, go home."
Watch not make it crowd on that lady. Watch. Look at these little benches. Look at you, dude. Look at you shooting a lady in a wheelchair. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Don't you realize you're on the wrong side of history?
Agents are loading up in their car right now and driving away with the people that they had grabbed.
Fucking evil asshole. The people hate you.
The agent's already now backing off.
Back up. Shame. You're all traitors, especially you, little lady, betraying your own fucking people. How can you say that? Your grandmother was
with 3 kids for no reason! She was a poet! Did you like that, fuckers? Yeah, your president's a monster! He molested! You're Nazis!
Fucking prick over here.
Did you see him, like, when they jumped out? Like, yeah, there was 2 of them, but you didn't see. I mean, it moved so fast.
Come back!
Yeah, feel that. Yeah, so you're feeling the effects of the pepper spray in the air. The crowd right now is trying to put together exactly what happened. From what we saw, again, it was a black SUV that pulled out here into the crowd. John, did you see where it came from? If it came from within the Whipple building parking lot at all? No, we don't know exactly where the vehicle came from, but it pulled up very abruptly. The agents jump out. I saw some of the agents point out the first woman that they grabbed. The first woman that they grabbed, they pointed to her directly. It seemed like that was targeted, that they were going after her. After that, another man was grabbed, but not clear if he was also part of that targeted grab or that was just them, again, trying to enforce that area you saw where they keep the protesters back as they're executing the arrest. And you saw the animated result from the crowd that it gets as more Americans being, presumably, American citizens out here to protest their own government being snatched off the street and shoved into an SUV with tinted windows and then driven away. Driven away to we don't know where. You see the agents now backing off across the street, the protesters feeling comfortable to once again walk right up to the edge of that yellow line. So that yellow line is what they've been told by the federal agents is the extent of the extent towards the Whipple Federal Building that they're allowed to get is this yellow line in the road. And as you look down the crowd here, basically you can kind of draw a line. They're standing more or less right on, a few are just over that yellow line where they've been told to stand. But even though they were allowed to stand as far as they are right now, when that vehicle pulled up, the agents all worked to shove the protesters back behind that yellow line a ways so that they could arrest that woman and that man.
I know.
There's a lot of press out here today. What you're looking at is someone who does sketch artist renderings as a member of the press of the scenes out here.
Now, car guys.
Anybody know why they took him?
Why don't you get a real job?
Pulling out of the crowd or were they pulling the light?
Federal agents definitely in these vehicles, they were slowing down, which made the crowd grow a little apprehensive that maybe another arrest was about to happen, but it's just slowing down because they had to slow for someone who is crossing the street to allow them to cross. Those vehicles were filled with more federal agents, so it got that animated response from the crowd. John, I'm gonna try and grab this guy here in the yellow coat.
Oh yeah, we can say it.
Yeah, we can see right here. All right. Can I have you spell your name for me?
Yeah, Ryan Maher. It's RyanMaher.
Ryan, first, give me your Twin Cities resume, bona fides. How long have you lived here? How long have you called this place home?
I don't live in the Twin Cities. I live in Waukee, Iowa. I drove up here this morning at 5 a.m.
Why did you feel compelled to be here today?
I came up here in 2020 after George Floyd was murdered, after I watched that video. And on Wednesday, I got word that Renee Nicole Good was murdered in cold blood. And I made the decision right then and there that I was going to come up here one way or another. They fired the first shot. I'm not calling for peace anymore. I don't care what Fox News says. I don't care what that woman in the press room says. I'm not calling for peace. They fired the first shot. We have the Second Amendment for a reason. It's time for people to come back here with weapons and show these people that we're equals.
I can just feel the emotion coming off of you right now. You've been wearing it on your sleeve today, as I've seen you have some interactions with other protesters here. Describe to me some of those emotions that you're feeling right now.
I'm angry. We knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen the minute they called the election in 2024. That's why what I did right when I knew the election was going to go the way it did, that's why I went and I bought my first gun. I used to hate guns. I used to think that it was insane that we have more guns than people in this country. And in reality, I still do think that it's insane that we have more guns than people. But if we've got people like these guys out here just terrorizing people, kicking in doors with no warrants, kidnapping people with no cause, and murdering people for trying to flee and for obeying a command to leave the area, and then shooting her in the face like that after she drops her kid off at school, we have to show up with guns. We have to. There's no other way around it. I don't care if I don't have a Minnesota carry permit. I'm unarmed right now, but this is the last time I show up to face these guys without a weapon. There's no way. I got shot with a pepper ball 5 minutes after walking in here. I never laid a finger on them. I never raised a hand to them. I've only been using my voice. The time for speaking is over. The time for niceties is over. The time for peace is over. They fired the first shot. It is time to end this shit by any means necessary.
You're talking about, potentially going to a dark place in this country. Do you foresee
We're there. This is the dark place. This is the dark time. We have people being sent to Salvadorian concentration camps. We got other countries being raided for their oil. We're in the dark time. There's no way out of this. There's no voting our way out of this. We can't wait till November. There's no waiting to the ballot box. We need to get to the bullet box. That's the only way. If there was another way, I'd be advocating for it. I've spoken peacefully. I've marched peacefully. I marched without Sharpton. I marched on Washington. I've been peaceful. I've acted peacefully. The time for peace is over. The time for any means necessary is right now.
That's a powerful, powerful message that you're delivering here. When you're talking about facing these agents who are armed right now with, we're seeing them with pepper spray, obviously shooting the pepper balls, but we've seen them also with long guns. What's the message that's being delivered to you by your federal government, you feel, in this moment?
That they don't care about us. I'm mixed. I'm part Native, I'm part black. They don't care about me. They don't care about people who don't look like the standard white Christian male. They don't care. They do not care. They've said it. They want remigration. They want to put us somewhere else. They want to remove us from this country. So they want to do this. We can't just march. We can't just wait until November.
They want to remove us. They want to kill us.
I hope it doesn't come to that. I mean, we're already seeing this play out as a pattern now in city after city, right? The day after Renee Good is shot and killed, 2 more people shot in Portland. There were people shot in Chicago before that. What do you see the ultimate project as the Trump administration is engaged in here? Like, what is the country that you think that they are trying to create?
They want a whites-only country, or a whites-only, or for their useful people that work for them. They don't care about anybody else, and I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe in Jesus Christ died for my sins. I'm not ready to go meet him yet, but at this point, this cannot go on like this. This cannot go on.
How do you marry that faith and the peaceful message of Jesus with also this sense of there's no other way out of this than violence, as you laid out just a moment ago?
It's a hard marriage, but you know, turning the other cheek only gets you so far. At some point, people need to rise up.
We just heard here in just the last few minutes that for a while the FBI had said it wasn't going to give local authorities access to evidence in this case, that only the FBI, the federal government, essentially was going to investigate itself for this shooting. But with just in the last few minutes, the Attorney General for the state of Illinois and the District Attorney here in Hennepin County have announced that they are going to go ahead with their own investigation, even if the federal government doesn't give them access to some pieces of evidence. Do you have any hope that there's an opportunity for justice there from the investigation that that local authorities would carry out?
You know, Keith Ellison stood up in 2020 and helped deliver justice for George Floyd. I have no doubt that the state of Minnesota will do the right thing and pursue justice in this case if the federal government won't. And if I support them doing their own investigation, and if the people involved don't want to cooperate with the investigation or provide any material evidence, then they can be charged with obstruction as well. You know, they committed a crime in the state of Minnesota. They committed a murder on the streets of Minneapolis, so they violated Minnesota law, and they need to be held accountable.
Thank you very much for your time. You came here to protest. I'll let you get back to it, but before I do, is there anything else you would want to say while you had the platform?
I would just say we need to step up. We need to rise up. Anybody who's on the sidelines, anybody who has a voice, needs to step up. And when I say any means necessary, it's not just weapons and taking up arms. You know, we need everybody to speak up against this.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time, man. Let's get back to it. Yeah, thank you. I mean, you hear that passion. I mean, these are people who they feel like the message that's being sent to them by the Trump administration is one of violence, is one of these, blue places that are being targeted by the Trump administration are somehow worthy of all of this violence that is being carried out. The murder of Renee Good aside, her killing, you have the daily violence that is carried out by federal agents who, for many occasions, stage at this building, roll out in caravans and vehicles that are unmarked, go out into communities here in the Twin Cities area, and disappear people off of the streets, separate them from their families. We've been documenting what they have been doing, not only here over the last month plus, but also in other cities over the last many months. And what I have been struck by over that time is we all see the dramatic social media videos that come across in our feed of ICE agents carrying out arrests, violently grabbing someone, people filming with their phones, yelling at the agents. In those cases, that small minority of cases where it is captured on video or on a cell phone, or there is some sort of resistance to what the Trump administration is doing, even if it is just protesting, that is only a small portion of the cases. Many are not captured on video. Many times a family has no way of knowing what happened to their loved one, at least certainly initially, where they are told, where they instead their loved one might just not come home because they were snatched at the bus stop, snatched while they were doing their laundry. I'll note the federal agents are pulling back now behind the fence line, so that's generating a new round of boos and jeers from the crowd here. But many of these people who are grabbed off the street, their loved ones have no way of knowing necessarily what happened to them. We saw in Chicago that agents, or that families rather, would show up at the ICE processing facility in the suburbs of Chicago just because they hadn't heard from their loved one and thought that there was a chance that they might be inside that ICE processing facility, that public black site. And I apologize, I'm getting renewed doses of the pepper balls as people will walk over where they've been shot and kick it up into the air. But that's the daily pressure that these communities live under, and that daily pressure ramps up and makes people more and more discontent and afraid, and leads to more and more agitation, more and more pushback, more and more protesting. And the people in these communities have told me repeatedly said that this ramping up of pressure, the crackdowns that happened, like Operation Metro Surge that began here in the Twin Cities area, hearing a chant of let them go from the crowd. Let them go! Let them go! Let them go! Let them go! Yeah, it seems, and it looks like that might have been the woman who was grabbed earlier, was it? Yeah, it looks like they've got the woman who was singled out by agents when they pulled up that truck just a few minutes ago, standing over there. They had her in handcuffs, but now she is not. And people here in the crowd are chanting, "Let them go," referring to that woman and the man who was grabbed at nearly the same time as her. We're giving you a look here at the whole crowd from the front. This protester has been doing this repeatedly. We interviewed him last night. He said that he came here to create good trouble, as he put it, and he's been walking up to this fence, shouting out to the agents. I'll note that they are not letting. It looks like that's the man who was grabbed earlier, that he's being walked back towards the Whipple. Oh, the girl is also with him. So the two of them are being walked back towards the Whipple building by, it looks like, 3 agents. And so they are not necessarily being let go, though they are not in handcuffs right now. Hard to tell from this vantage point exactly what is happening there, but giving you a look here at this crowd, which has grown significantly from even the time that we started broadcasting. And we were here for a while before we started broadcasting, when it started as just 20 people. I mean, you can look out at this crowd now and see that it is, what would you say, John? I mean, it's certainly over 100, but where it's swelled by at least 5 times what it was at the time when we started going live, and even larger than that. Many more times of growth from this morning, when we were very first out here around 7:30 this morning to see the status of the protests. I'll note that there was a march last night that some of these faces that are here in this crowd are familiar to me from that march, and some people have told me off camera that they were at the march last night, and that march was in the rain. John and I were out there for 3 hours. We were streaming for much of that time. When we got done, I mean, we were dead dog tired, and because of the rain and the cold, I mean, we were just soaked through, exhausted. We got back to the hotel late, peeled ourselves up out of bed to come here this morning and show this protest, but there wasn't a lot of people at the scene right away this morning. I got to assume that if we were tired, then the people who marched in the protest were as well, and likely needed some time this morning to recover, or maybe wait for the temperatures to warm up here a little bit today before actually coming back out here. I want to take a moment to also tell you that what we do here at Status Coup is entirely editorially independent. We are able to do this only through your direct support.
Cam's down there. You want to talk to him?
No, I'm okay.
In the helmet?
Seeing some, John's talking to me right now about, we're seeing Cam Higbee, you said, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing Cam Higbee, who's a right-wing provocateur, styles himself as a journalist, who is out here recording the proceedings. We're expecting some more right-wing provocateurs. There was one gentleman who fit that mold that was out here yesterday with an American flag that got treated with kid gloves by the federal agents, and even as the other, even though he was breaking many of the same rules. Quote unquote rules that the federal agents are setting arbitrarily here for the protests, even though that right-wing provocateur yesterday was breaking many of those rules, did not get treated in the same way as the protesters who got tear gassed and wrestled to the ground and shot with pepper balls and pepper sprayed, etc. And we're expecting perhaps more of that today, though we are going to do our utmost here at Status Quo not to give them a platform just because of their agitating. Of course, if they end up causing a dangerous situation, then that might be a different story. But that's something that we want to just give attention to here on Status Quo. But what we do here is entirely can only be done because of the generous support of our members who give just a few bucks a month when they are able to support our on-the-ground operations, which cost us an arm and a leg to be here. It's $10,000 plus per month that we spend to be on the ground in places like Chicago, like Charlotte, like now Minneapolis, over the last many years of Status Quo, and we're only able to do that thanks to the support of all of our members. So the biggest way you can support John and I and the whole team here at Status Quo is to become one of those members. It keeps us truly editorially independent, so you know that what I am saying here on the microphone is beholden only to you, our audience, and delivering the news to you in a way that is actually people and movement focused, the way that we like to here at Status Quo. So if you can, statusquo.com/join. Seeing a little bit of tension over here. That's why we're walking down the street. Just trying to get a sense for what was happening over here. Seeing a couple of people with face masks. This gentleman here in the beard. Seems to be three people here who are gaining the attention of the crowd, who are going up and directly confronting them. This is getting the attention of law enforcement who are walking over right now. Yeah, you see Department of Homeland Security police walking over, trying to interpose themselves here between the protesters after one of the masked men here who was gaining the attention of the crowd started waving the authorities over. Now more of them coming as well.
We're not even hiding it.
Man, how do you do this? How do you betray your own people?
They just shot another round of pepper balls here at the ground towards the crowd as a way to make people move back.
Why are you doing this?
Watch out, John, a van's coming through.
Please move back on property. You go the fuck home.
Fuck you!
Please go home. We'll be safe.
How can you be shooting unarmed protesters with CS gas when you're not even manly enough to join the Marines? Shame on you, you Nazi pieces of shit! And ma'am, Shame on you, especially for betraying your own fucking. You don't know what they want. You don't know what you're doing. There's no de-escalation at this point. There's only escalation. We should be dumping the fucking tea in the harbor. Make people join us.
Metropolitan Council property, you cocksucker. This is Metropolitan Council property, you cocksucker. This is not federal property.
Seeing some of the masked men over there now who are gaining some of the attention of the crowd are yelling at the DHS police.
Because you're obviously not qualified to be a federal agent, you fat fuck. Why can they stand over there but we can't? Why are you enforcing the law on some but not all? That's called fascism, assholes. Shame on you. Look at you. You're wearing masks because you're a coward. You're wearing masks because you're ashamed of what you're doing. Why can they not be? Why can they be there but we can't?
I'm talking to you. Your robbery is not right here, you fucking cock loser.
Take your masks off, cowards. Take your masks off, cowards. Have a fucking spine, have some strength, and take your mask off. Stop hiding like a little bitch. None of us are hiding. Why are you? You're betraying the Republic and you know it. That's why. Take your masks off, cowards. Take your mask off, you pussy little bitch. You're laughing because you know it's true. You wouldn't do shit without that CS gas and that badge. Without it, you're just another punk-ass little bitch. Fuck you, you fucking Nazi. And fuck you, you traitor.
You fucking you don't even know where your property line is, you cocksucking piece of shit. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself.
You see there the federal agents now walking back beyond the fence line to the Whipple Federal Building.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself.
You're a fucking traitor to your own fucking people. How do you fucking sleep at night? Look at this, the American people.
See that long line of protesters now stretching down the block.
Yes, let's wrap her up. Wrap her up. Roll her up over. Let's go. Hurry up, pussy! Fucking fat piece of shit. You fucking cunt. I'm talking to you.
And the guy in the pink.
I'm gonna have to make it out.
Hundreds of
Would you mind if I interviewed you about why you wanted to be out here today?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. My cameraman John's around here somewhere. Oh, there he is. What's your name?
Amber.
Amber. Nice to meet you. I'm
Nice
JT.
to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hi.
Oh yeah. Yep. Good. All right. All right. Amber. All right. I'm standing here with Amber outside of the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building, from which ICE is staging many of its operations here in the Twin Cities area as a protest of, I mean, certainly over 100. I don't know if we're talking 200 at this point, people who are standing out here. But Amber, you are just one of the many protesters out here. What made you want to be out here today?
My city has gone through so much trauma the past, I can't even tell you how many years, with the school shootings, with the police murders, with what happened to Renee Good, with what's going on with ICE. This affects our family, my loved ones. I have to be out here. I have to.
Let's talk about the message that you came to deliver. Let's start with the sign. If you could just read it for us and explain exactly the message that you're here to deliver.
My sign says, "This is the machine we rage against." Renee Good and Jonathan Ross. We got to stop this. We cannot have this in our city. Everybody is welcome. This is stolen land. This is stolen land. There's no immigrants on stolen land. So that's my message. We're all welcome here.
Yes. Okay. You got to the heart of it right there with you feel everybody should be welcome here in this country. The Trump administration has said that it's crackdown on immigrant communities, not only here in Minneapolis, but across the country, have been about safety, though I think at this point
it's about brown people.
It's about
brown people. It's about racism. And if he really wants to crack down on immigration, start with your wife and your birthright citizenship son. Facts. Yes.
So do you feel like this is just the president then calling out his particular minority group of choice of the week to terrorize? Okay, you're saying yes. Where do you see this ending then, or how do you see it ending?
Well, if anybody remembers 2021 Minneapolis to George Floyd, it's not going to end well for ICE. It's not. We will fight. We will stand up. We are a strong city. We are a great community. We welcome all of our community members. So it's not going to end well.
How can you give us some examples of that strength that you have seen in the face of these ICE operations, in the killing of Renee Good? Maybe just an example of two of how you've seen that this community exhibit strength.
My community has came out since this happened to protest against it, and we will continue to. We will continue to speak as a community and work as a community, and we are peaceful. We're not the ones shooting paint bullets at anybody or rubber pellets or tear gas. We're not doing that. We're out here using our amendment right to protest. So we got a good, strong community. Yeah.
But there's a call to action. This needs to be handled by the state.
Yes.
This needs to be investigated by the state.
So to that end, just earlier today, we got news that the state attorney general and the district attorney here for Hennepin County were going to be mounting an independent investigation into the killing of Renee Good. So it won't just be the federal government investigating itself anymore for, if there was any wrongdoing in this shooting. What are your hopes for justice coming out of a truly independent investigation?
Jonathan Ross is arrested, charged, and sits in prison. That is the hope.
Is that where it should end?
Absolutely. Well, it shouldn't end there. We got to still keep fighting against what is going on here, but definitely it would be a step in the right direction if he is charged.
How do we as a country, how do you foresee us healing, or can we, after so much pain being inflicted on so many different communities across, from sea to shining sea?
That's a hard question to answer. There are good people out here. We're far more good people than bad people. We'll come together. We will. We'll come together.
Thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you would want to add while you had the platform?
No, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
So we've been live out here for, looks like going on an hour and 45 minutes now. I'm going to take just a very quick break just to catch my breath here off camera, and then I'll be right back with you. But again, just to set the scene before I do that, if you have joined us at any point since the very beginning of this stream, I just want to say where we are. Again, this is the Whipple Federal Building. This is the Whipple Federal Building just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And it is from this building where ICE agents have been staging many of their operations here in the Twin Cities area. There is this protest that has gathered here in that time. It started when we started going live. I think it was probably about 20 people, a little bit more than that, maybe 30. And now it has swelled to this. Several hundred. We've seen some, at times, violence being used by the Trump administration, by their police coming out of the federal building to push protesters back across the yellow line here in the middle of the road. That is the arbitrary marker that the Trump administration, its agents are saying that the protesters can go no farther than that line. So the protesters coming right up to that line at times, coming across it, times going right up to the fence of this building to make their voices heard, to call for justice for Renee Good, who was shot and killed by ICE agent Jonathan Ross just 2 days ago, and also calling for an end to ICE operations here in the Twin Cities area where the Trump administration has made its focus. It started with Operation Metro Surge last month. We've been here on the ground. We were here on the ground last month for several weeks, showing Operation Metro Surge as it was being carried out, as a pregnant woman was dragged across the ground by ICE agents, as agents terrorized Somali communities. And then over the Christmas into New Year's, we had right-wing provocateur Nick Shirley release a video that was riddled with inaccuracies, but alleged widespread fraud at several Somali daycares. And that then seemed to prompt the Trump administration into increasing its presence here even further, resulting in Border Patrol being deployed here just 2 days ago, and it was on the first day of that deployment when Renee Good was killed. And that brings us here to what we're seeing today. So I'm going to take just a brief break here off the mic to give my voice just a second to rest, and then I'll be back here with more interviews and more coverage as we continue to monitor this protest and the clashes with Trump administration agents. Largely okay with this. grid sky. You ready? Yeah. All right, I'm coming back on camera here because we have some pretty major breaking news that's just coming across to us here, and that is that Alpha News, which is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that is an outlet that is here in Minnesota and is right-leaning. It obtained cell phone video taken by ICE officer Jonathan Ross before and after the fatal shooting. In the video, you can apparently see that Renee Goods was smiling at Jonathan Ross, and her last words to him were, quote, "That's fine, dude, I'm not mad at you," unquote. And after shooting and killing her seconds later, he can be heard on the video saying, quote, "fucking bitch," unquote. She says, "That's fine, dude, I'm not mad at you." He shoots and kills her and then says, "fucking bitch." That's the actors that the Trump administration are asking us to believe are somehow embattled, poor ICE agents just out to make communities safer, while at the same time they are out terrorizing those very same communities. When you hear from the people that we are interviewing here, who actually represent these communities that we are here reporting in, when we go out on the ground in these communities and interview the people there, and I ask them, do you feel safer with ICE agents in their neighborhood? They unequivocally say no. And then the Trump administration has the temerity to say that these ICE agents are acting in the public good as they are shooting and killing the public. And then saying, "fucking bitch." About a mother of three. She had two older children and then a 6-year-old son from a second marriage. Her husband in that second marriage had died, leaving that child without a son. Got to clear the road here as people are rolling through here. This is still an active street. But a mother of three was killed, and what the ICE agent had to say about it was, "fucking bitch." That was, if you ever shot and killed someone and wondered how you would react as a person from taking a human life, doing something so final that affects so many people in a split-second decision where you decide to use lethal force, is the thing that you're going to say about that, regardless of who the person is, "fucking bitch"? And I'll note that the Trump administration is responding here by coming out again with its federal police against protesters who are being peaceful. So far, the only thing that they have done is have the temerity to stand on the other side of a yellow line that is painted along the roadway. That's it. That's it. For that, they will fire pepper balls. They will drive out with black SUVs with tinted windows, jump out, grab people, throw them in the truck, drive off with them. And we saw them later being led, looked like, towards the Whipple Federal Building. That's what the Trump administration will do to peaceful protesters. And the Trump administration will also murder a mother of three in cold blood after she had just dropped her child off at school. And then try to play the victim, because everything is just about the PR wins for them. It's not clear exactly why. It seems like maybe the agents are just out here to talk to this guy who has tape measure out, or they're directing these gentlemen with the tape measure. It's not clear. Although a truck with concrete barriers loaded on its back and a giant claw that it'll use to place those barriers is lined up now just behind these agents who are standing out here. So it seems like these federal police are preparing to maybe place those barriers right across the entrance here or if at least, if not across the entire length, at least across part of it, to block the approach here. Which would suggest then that ICE agents, if they're not already, are using other entrances here to the federal building.
You get some?
We don't want you here! Get the fuck out! You guys are pathetic! Oh yeah, look at me! I don't have a mask, I got a ticket on! This isn't funny. This isn't right. It's better than me. It's all work out.
Tap on the screen. Share the live, share the live.
You'll be on pay rations for the rest of your life for your service to the I'm tired of this. This is unfair, unkind. Now get it over.
Anything good? All right, I'm standing here with Anaya. Anaya, if I could have you start, just if you could spell that for me.
Anaiya.
Thank you very much. What made you want to be out here today?
I mean, it's a very clear violation of human rights. We're watching it in real time. I mean, everyone can see what's happening. We're in 2026. We're all aware of not only the human rights violations, but we have federal officials that are spreading false legal information that are backing up these very dangerous organizations with propaganda that they are immune to murder. There is no immunity against murder, and especially when they violated her constitutional rights. If anyone can play back that video, it is very apparent. So when people are standing out here, they're standing out because they don't want a precedent of anyone being able to be murdered for anything because a small man with a gun feels threatened by your existence for living in a way that doesn't fit in his tiny little box. Everyone has a right to coexist and live peacefully.
And what was the message that you came out here to deliver, to send to the Trump administration?
That this needs to be handled on a state level. You've shown your incompetency not only to our state but the world. It's truly a laughingstock, and Minnesota is competent to take on this trial, and we want justice for Renee and for our community.
So just here, there's some news that's come out just today. First of all, that the Attorney General, apologies, there's a lot of noise going on in the background, making it difficult to focus. But the Attorney General for the state of Minnesota and the Hennepin County District Attorney have come out and said that they are going to launch their own investigation into Renee Good's shooting. What's your initial reaction to hearing that news, that it won't just be the federal government investigating itself?
It's something that the federal government is also fighting back against, though. So that makes me, in a sense, worried because even though Minnesota is fighting for it, we have federal agents that are vetoing our state to look at this investigation. Timeliness is of great importance in investigations like this, and to get witnesses, their testimonies as soon as possible. They're pushing the line. Hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're seeing this truck here with the concrete barriers loaded on it, moving out here. It looks like to place the barriers to block this entrance to the Whipple Federal Building. This is something that was happening this morning for quite a while, placing many barriers on the opposite side of the street from where we're standing. The protesters seem to think that it was to set up an area where they could be corralled, which would be very reminiscent of what we saw happen in Chicago, in Broadview, Illinois, where there were ongoing protests outside of an ICE facility. And that was local officials, actually, who placed concrete barriers there to limit where people could stand. And now it seems that the federal government is taking a lesson from that and applying a similar strategy here. federal police here have come out. I don't know that at least some of them are actually have a badge on his vest. Some of them have, looks like they all have ICE special response team patches along their arms. They're here protecting a truck that is just to their left here, out of frame, as that truck is placing concrete barriers. Which seems to be designed to restrict the protesters' ability to move closer to the Whipple Federal Building. John, at the far end there's an ICE agent who's actually talking back to the crowd. I want to try and hear. Seeing some ICE agents actually talking back to the crowd here. I want to try and get us to listen in.
I dug trenches! You fucking bitches! Take your fucking masks off, you shit ass!
Think about it! Think about it!
Bitches!
Think about it!
I saw. What were the agents saying?
I was telling them about how my friends are living in terror, how they picked up my friends who are citizens, how my friends are trapped in their apartment, they can't leave, they're starving. And he said it wasn't him. He had no empathy. He said, it's not me. I said, you're part of the system, you're contributing to that terror. And he kind of shrugged. He then turned to this guy to deflect the conversation. He said that was a paid protester, and then he walked away. So,
dismissing the protesters, being paid protesters, not showing empathy or really understanding that they are participating in a system that is systematically harming communities across the country.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear about your friend who got picked up. Are they okay?
They're okay. They were just recording. They chased after them. It was Bovino. Bovino actually arrested them. They were just at Target, working at Target. They see ICE come in. They were recording peacefully, and they chased them down in Target. They were just 18, just kids. You know, a lot of these people, they see people angry. They just think they're paid protesters, and they shut down all empathy. It's insane.
Look at how small you are. You feel like a big man.
And that repeating that point of being paid protesters, obviously a very popular point. A very popular talking point for the right wing to try and use, though it's false. I have never, in all of my years of reporting, ever come across a protester who was paid to be there. But it's a favorite right-wing talking point, and as we've reported here on Status Quo, we brought you this reporting that, you know, the Trump administration is actively advertising in conservative spaces for new ICE hires, attempting to build, in effect, a partisan paramilitary force. If, John, you want to just pan around there and show, you know, you'd be forgiven for thinking that these were members of the U.S. military or the National Guard who were out here, but no. These are ostensibly police, quote unquote. They are ICE officers standing out here. Well, and some of the some right-wing provocateurs have arrived. We're going to keep an eye on that as it develops.
These people aren't real. Don't take them real. Don't give them any attention. I can't hear you.
You're seeing here is Jake Lang and some other right-wing provocateurs. Yeah, and now the
federal agents are firing pepper balls to disperse the crowd here. notably moving the protesters and firing at the protesters, but not. Their agents were firing. Their agents were firing both tear gas and pepper balls and also flashbangs to disperse the crowd. And using quite a lot of it too, I'll note. Firing still more pepper balls. They're shooting them to protect them. What? They're protecting them. Yeah. They're essentially acting as. I'll note that the ICE force directing a lot more of its fire at the protesters than at the right-wing provocateurs. Firing many pepper ball rounds now at the crowd. Looking to target, they're pointing at particular people in the crowd. Directing press now to move back.
Support every single last one of us. Send it back to
We're seeing ICE agents right now pointing at very particular people in the crowd. Not sure for what ultimate goal.
Let's go, President Trump.
A lot of the protesters are kind of now splitting off into two groups. There's one that's continuing to follow and try and shout down the right-wing provocateurs, and there's another group that is remaining outside of the main entrance to the to that one entrance to the Whipple Federal Building. This is the group you're looking at here. This is with the right-wing provocateurs. I want to point out that more of the ICE agents are coming back down this way now. You see there the ICE agents using pepper balls to forcibly separate the right-wing provocateurs and the protesters. They're also clearing the way for a car to be able to get through.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
They're seeing ICE essentially acting as security for the right-wing provocateurs here, keeping the protesters back and forming an actual perimeter around those right-wing.
Fuck this piece of shit! You're protecting them. Why are you not shooting? They're the agitators.
Crowd is yelling back at the ICE agents, saying that the right-wing provocateurs are the agitators. Why aren't they being met with the same force, being arrested, or being treated differently from the protesters?
Kill yourself!
I mean, it's just such blatant hypocrisy.
Kill yourself!
You see a protester there grabbing one of the signs. The provocateurs holding. I'll point out that this spectacle right here is the whole point of what these right-wing agitators are doing.
These right-wing agitators come here specifically for this outcome. They do this, create this scene, generate content for it for their social media pages, and use that to cash in. It's all a grift for them. You hear all that noise that the protesters are generating to try and drown out the message of the right-wing provocateurs. ICE has now just taken a step back. Well, no, it's not just ICE out here anymore. There's also HSI police, and I saw at least a couple of Border Patrol agents. And this is the state of the of First Amendment rights in the United States. These are people who are out demonstrating, of course, but it's all on one side. You have a mass of people.
You're protecting that motherfucker again.
On one side, you have a mass of people who are here to voice their displeasure with a federal government with functional, limitless resources, from using their taxpayer dollars to victimize their own communities. On the other, you have a few agitators who are just here to create a spectacle and create content for their social media pages. But that's what discourse in the United States has been diminished to on the right. Just a series of short clips to own the libs.
Make them leave! Make them leave! Make them leave! Leave them alone!
And I'll note that the federal police are sort of seemingly torn between acting as private security for the right-wing provocateurs and then just stepping back. I think you can kind of tell based on some body language out here that they're not sure what their role should really be here, if they should be protecting those right-wing provocateurs as they're doing sometimes, or just protecting the federal property.
We're just trying to get on
Yeah, and I'll just point out, we just had a gentleman who came up who thought that he was kind of shoving a sign in my face trying to separate me from John. It seemed like he thought that we were like right-wing content creators, like what we're seeing play out in front of us. Assumed that we were, one of those groups when in effect, I had to tell him that we've been reporting here on Operation Midway Surge for the last, 2 calendar months now. 29. And then once he came to understand that, these are actual reporters, journalists, then he left us alone.
President Trump, you're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, President Trump. Trump sucks! Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! Fuck Trump! The fucking Epstein file! The fucking president of Send him all the invader mongers. President Trump, the stealing and taking money in the healthcare fraud in Minnesota is in the billions. It's in the billions. I wish Serena Soluski was here anymore. Maybe she'd be around. Somebody shut this fucking idiot up. Fucking dumbass. All kinds of... That's so fucking stupid. President Trump send ICE. This is about President Trump. You also want Trump. Trump your daddy. Trump your daddy. Trump your daddy. You don't like Trump's dad. You should have been swallowed. Your mother shall swallow. Your mother shall swallow. Every door to door. Don't stop. Every Walmart parking lot. Your mother shall swallow. Send them all back.
We've seen quite a few of the federal agents now get closer to this crowd here. You see there, that's the federal agents who are kind of just hovering here.
Let's up the end. Is this a press conference? Is this a hand job? Is this a grinder day? Is this a grinder day? Ignore this guy. Turn your back. All right, follow the leader. The violent left, trying to steal phones, trying to intimidate Bush. double upstairs for independence.
Ice, baby. Very soon. They're gonna come. Ice is coming. Where's your anchor baby? Anchor baby. Anchor baby.
Let's go sit next to our ladies.
Which one? Which one? Purple?
Yes.
Ice, you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. Look at
What were you saying to the...
I was asking him if they know each other, if they all know each other, because if they're going to vouch for each other, they should know each other. They should know that it takes more than 47 days to be trained to carry a gun. They should know. So I just asked him, and he wouldn't answer.
Didn't give you any answer?
No.
Just moved you along, or...
He said, move along, please. He said, please. But I said, are you from Minnesota? And he didn't answer. And I just want to know. They all vouch for each other, so they should know. Especially the guy that shot the woman the other day. They should know who they work with. They should know their credentials. I had to know as a teacher. They should have to know too, especially because they're carrying guns.
He's probably on all kinds of government assistance. Grew up on Section 8 housing. Take from the American people. We're done taking. We're done giving you money. We're done giving you money. All you and your anchor baby friends, get the fuck out of my country. Get these anchor babies out of my country. Get these fucking anchor babies out of my country.
You see a lot of the protesters now have just reformed along that yellow line where they've been told to stand, continuing just to demonstrate now over there. It's a much smaller group of protesters who are actually gathered around the right-wing provocateurs. ICE coming in here and Border Patrol agents coming in here to move people out of the way so that cars can get through. Because God forbid should protesting the slow decline of American democracy and a belief in a multicultural state, that protest, God forbid, it should block traffic.
Reclaim the homeland. Reclaim the homeland for the Christians. Get these Satanists out of here. Satanists out of here. President Trump, you're doing a great job. President Trump's doing a great job. Send ICE to every household in Minnesota. Send them to Chicago. Send them to New York. We're so blessed. We're so blessed in this country.
At least one of you is not afraid to show his face.
Fuck Nazis! Fuck Nazis!
It's white boy summer.
This guy's a fucking loser.
Let's go!
Yeah, I don't have my colors.
For tomorrow, every Somali, send them back. ICE, we support you. Thank you. You're saving our country. You're saving our country. You're saving our country.
You're ruining our country, you fucking loser.
One day we'll look back at this and remember when Americans took back their country. When Americans took back our country. It's our country.
You want me to back the fuck up? Don't you back the fuck up.
It's our country. We have the right to defend our country.
Border Patrol firing.
Border Patrol firing pepper balls again. Clear the road.
All they want to do is come here and get on social welfare.
Fucking loser.
Steal our money, take our jobs, rape our women.
Everybody can see you. We know what you're doing.
ICE,
You're not gonna get away with this shit. And this fucking bitch is gonna get what's his one day.
I'm talking to you.
We're doing great, guys. It's this ice. They're going down. There we go. God bless America for the violent one. Who knows, it could be some Somali family might like to wash themselves in the cow urine, I heard. You guys see it online. I heard you washing themselves in the cow urine, right? You just got a Somali cow urine washing. That's usually, you have to pay for that. Usually have to pay for that. Hey, make sure, put ice on again. Put on ice, baby. Put on ice. Ice, baby. Country will not fall to you violent migrants. Our country is going to stand for another 250 years of beautiful
Fascism! You are all fascists!
Beautiful
You are all
freedom.
traitors to the Republic! You are all Nazis!
Tim Walz, you're a retard. Tim Walz is a retard. Tim Walz is a retard. Tim Walz is a retard. I keep getting assaulted over and over again. Look at this violence.
This right-wing scene here, these right-wing provocateurs have really just derailed a good chunk of the protest, though I'll note not all of it. There are still many activists who are chanting off to either one side of where these provocateurs are standing, one side or the other, down the street, or continuing to lob their protest directly at the federal agents who are on the other side.
In our country, all the first generation Americans here to steal the future for your children. First generation stolen American. These people are stealing passports. Just because you're on a passport doesn't make you an American, okay? You're on conquered land. You're not the fucking military behind you. No more people are assaulting us because they're watching assaults. Gotta make arrests.
It seems like as ICE has wrestled with its role out here.
Absolutely no reason for that.
What happened? Turn ice off. Turn it back.
Oh, I wish I would have had that on there. There was no reason for that.
You got Trump dick down your throats!
If God wills it, it will be done. Do smoke. There we go. Thank you, Ice. We love you guys. I promise you guys had to be here today instead of raiding migrant homes. I'm sorry. I wish you were doing what you do best. Clearing our country of the vagrant scum. Carpetbaggers from South America here to steal your children's future. This is our land. This is conquered land. This is conquered land. This is conquered land. And we conquered it. And we took it. Guys, I'm a proud infidel. I'm a proud infidel. What's up? Violent migrants. Violent migrants. Violent migrants. I haven't showered in like 3 weeks, you fucking migrants. Go back across whatever sea you guys rode your canoes here from. Leave our country alone. Over here, they said they're drug dealers, they're mentally ill. President Trump was 100% right. 100% right. They've cleared out the mental institutions, and these are the people that come here. Violent, they hate want to steal our money to pay bills and health care.
Somali healthcare and daycare fraud to the tune of hundreds of millions. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. These migrants have been sent here as biochemical weapons to destroy white America. They have been sent here to destroy our country.
Seeing agents move in here with a fair amount of urgency going into the crowd. We weren't able to see exactly what happened other than all of a sudden many of the federal agents surged forward into the crowd. It doesn't look like they arrested anybody.
Come over here. Come on, give me a little spray. Little Nazi bitch. Couldn't make it. Couldn't become a local police officer. We're the paramilitary forces who establish their power. And when they use you up, they will throw you out too. You think that liberals are your problem? Fucking technocrats are your problem. People with more money than God to decide what's going to happen to you for the rest of your life. That's your problem. They got you running in circles, chasing brown people. Like that's the cause. And that's why our government is here. It's not AI. Right? It's not Russian. It's gotta be the power. It's gotta be the Honduran, the Venezuelan, and the Lithuanian. It's gotta be White Coat violating that gator. You dumb fucking piece of shit. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you.
What's your fucking excuse, asshole?
His fucking neck gator violates flag code.
You got anything to say to the people? What? Do you have any excuses?
Now here he is standing on the right side of the flag reminding you that you have trusted
Now they're pulling back.
Hello, Teddy. Oh, fuck you. You're supposed to be fucking paradise. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Turn your fucking mouth. Kill yourself, good guy.
Real pleasure.
Good, Daddy. I just want you to quit your job. You can kill yourself, I don't care.
Hey, real question. Why did you arrest her? Why? What happened? Why? Why did you arrest her? Why?
Scared of some fucking water now?
Look, doesn't that feel like excessive force?
Talk about professional officers. They're right over there. Came out here to stop. You know that.
Doesn't that feel like excessive force?
You have hundreds of us.
Excessive force.
They also should confirm you that his numbers are so small and your numbers are so big. And that's not going well for your long-term life, Kelly.
Look.
Look, it's all on the street on the gas chamber. And we still have the torch. And we will put you all on trial. And when the jury of us decide, then we will deal with you.
Separated.
What's that? He didn't call me. You didn't? Oh, okay. John thought you did. Oh, okay. Yeah, last I checked, we're at about 30%, so we got to be getting pretty down there now. Oh, we got 17%. Yeah.
Akşam falan vurduk ben sana. Ben sana
All right, so you have the guy that was cooking burritos. He was making breakfast burritos over there. He's going over and offering the federal agents food.
They want to save
In the case of NWA versus the police department, the prosecuting attorneys are MC Red, Ice Cube, and Easy motherfucking E. Order. Ice Cube, take the motherfucking stand. You just want to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help your black ass. It's goddamn right. Why don't you tell everybody what the fuck you gotta say? Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. The young nigga got the back with a burner. And like the other time, some police think they have the authority to kill a minority. Fuck that shit, 'cause I ain't the one. No, punk motherfucker with a back.
They see here this scene's just kind of devolved into a staring contest here between the two sides. The protesters stand, for the most part, just along that yellow line, and the Department of Homeland Security agents standing on the federal property on the other side of the street.
And I mean, the use of those pepper balls have gotten so common, I don't even feel the need to comment on it every time they get fired. And another plume of it goes up into this crowd.
Which is probably a sad commentary on just how easy it is for those federal agents to just reach for that force immediately. Immediate, just go right to firing rounds. When you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And when you're a law enforcement agency that's being funded at levels greater than many countries' militaries, using force and all the weapons at your disposal suddenly seems like the best way to solve every problem. So I know we've been streaming out here for, God, how long has it been now? 3 hours? And nearly 3 hours that we've been live out here. Live for over 2 hours. Last night we were out here for several hours. Yesterday morning, we'll be covering tonight at 7 o'clock Central or 8 o'clock Eastern, and adjust for your time zone, we'll be covering a noise demonstration outside of a hotel in Minneapolis where activists believe that ICE agents have been staying. And it's all about putting pressure on these hotels to give federal agents who are terrorizing their communities no place to stay. And it's been met with some success because a Hilton location here, did refuse to serve federal agents, to the point that the Department of Homeland Security even posted about it on social media, which gathered a whole firestorm and led to the Hilton corporate office disavowing what this one particular yeah. But it just goes to show that pressure campaign can work, and protesters are planning to be outside of another hotel tonight, and we will be going live from there again at 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. So you can tune back in to see that scene as to all of the noise, and they try to make a lot of noise for the 2 hours these activists are going to make outside of a hotel in downtown Minneapolis tonight. And with us doing this, covering demonstration after demonstration in the wake of an ICE agent shooting and killing a woman here in Minneapolis on its south side, all of that coverage is only possible because of you, our viewers, people who like and share this stream, will get it out to all.
I've seen that guy before.
Pardon me, I got another inhaled pepper there. But all of that coverage is only possible with the support of our members and of the people who like and share the stream and do everything that they can to help lift up this on-the-ground journalism, this look at what things are actually like here on the ground. So if you are doing that, thank you so much, helping get the word out, because the algorithms do not reward the shoe leather journalism that we do.
Name was Renee Good.
I want to especially thank our members, people who have gone to statusquo.com/join and have agreed to give us $5 a month to keep us on the ground here. I should probably address this in a little bit of an interpersonal way. I have a daughter. John has a daughter. We both have families that we are away from. To be here reporting on what is happening, and we spend weeks on the road, days at a time, weeks. I mean, in Chicago, we were on the ground between John and I continuously for 2 months. And now we've been here on the ground, aside from a break around Christmas, we've been on the ground here since early December. Because we believe in lifting up these stories and not just parachuting in and telling one story, but staying on the ground, lifting up the voices of the people in these communities who are being directly impacted. That is worth the pain to us of being away from our families for that time, that we recognize what we're doing is important work, and it would not be possible without our members. So please go to statusquo.com/join for as low as $5 a month. 16 cents a day you go to support the cost that it costs John and I to stay in a hotel, to eat, so to have a place to rest, to eat, to feed ourselves, to be able to replace gear on our camera, to afford the travel and the flights to get to these places. It's all thanks to you. And if you are a member, thank you. If you've just become a member, thank you. Thank you so much. There are thousands of you watching right now, and we really appreciate you tuning in. If you're not a regular Status Quo member, I've walked through a little bit of what we do. But we believe in lifting up the voices of the true masses, the people who come out to these demonstrations to make their voices heard. Not of just showcasing the voices of those who already have power and giving them an even greater platform. We like to lift up the people here in these communities that are being directly victimized, either by corporate power or by the federal government, by the Trump administration that is currently terrorizing these communities.
Do what you do best. Go home and sit on the couch. Do your job.
To the boys across the street, just a reminder.
John and I are down to our last 10% battery on some of our equipment that we use to be able to broadcast to you live. Our plan here is to go until that battery is either runs out on us or at least nearly runs out, and then we'll sign off. But we're going to continue to broadcast here as long as we can. We have to be careful. We have some backup equipment that we can use to continue to stream, but we need to preserve it also for that other live that we will be doing tonight, again at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern, for the noise demonstration outside of a hotel that is believed by the activists to have hosted ICE agents here in the Twin Cities area.
Share the live, share the live, share the live, double tap on the screen, share the live, double tap on the screen, share the live, subscribe for more.
Things have seemed to have really just settled into kind of a unstable normal, I would say, right now, with the protesters on one side of the street, the right-wing provocateurs on the other side of the street, and then standing on the Whipple Federal Building property, all of the federal agents.
Fascist pigs! Fascist pigs! Fascist pigs! Fascist pigs!
Crowd now chanting fascist pigs at the agents who are on the other side of the street there. Earlier they were chanting say her name, Renee Nicole Good, for Renee Good, who was of course shot and killed by ICE agent Jonathan Ross.
Torture right now. I got nothing. It hurts. It really hurts. Where's the marina? You gotta go fucking take my phone.
Instantly, as soon as a car comes down the street, in this case it seems to be more federal agents, as soon as they come down the street, it's instant firing more pepper balls, acting as guards.
Fucking power!
up. Again, did not seem to me that those pepper balls needed to be fired there.
Double tap on your screen, double tap on your screen, double tap on your screen, share the live, subscribe for more updates, subscribe for more updates, double tap on your screen and share the live.
But those pepper balls that were fired just a moment ago, I'd note it did not seem to be they needed to be fired. The agents, just by walking forward, was enough to make the crowd move back. It's just cruelty for the sake of cruelty. And demonstrates that these agents don't really seem trained in how to de-escalate a situation, or at least handle a situation without immediately escalating it. Just coming back out into the street now. Because especially when you got the right wingers out here, you know, causing problems. Yeah, if we could step away from the, we could step away. Can we get away from the sound a little bit? Right there is fine.
Sorry, I'm like, never stay away.
That's right. Yeah, you come over here. Just gotta get the sun on your face a little bit. So if you could angle just a little bit that way, perfect. All right. And your name one more time, please?
Liv Polaro's Music is a tag. I'm an artist.
Okay.
And just advocate.
Yeah. So why don't you just start by spell your name for us, please?
POLAROSE or Liv LIV.
All right, Liv. I wanted you to just start by telling me why you wanted to be out here today.
Do I have to say much? And what I will say is those guys over there are Nazis. They want to spill blood. Do not let them. What separates us, this community, from MAGA is that we don't need violence, we don't need guns, and we don't need meth to stand up for what we believe in. So get out, get in your community, and let's get the... Can I swear?
Yeah, go for it.
And let's get us the fuck out! That's it.
Is that the message you came to deliver? Just get the fuck out? I mean, is that...
No, I mean, I think we need to really lean into love, like I did in my other interview. Like, lean into love. We need to... Love is the answer to all this. Love defeats all. And I hate to be, seeing such a light of, like, fighting and fight, but that's what we need to do. But not anything physical. We need to remain peaceful because that's what they want. I see comments on stuff saying, yes, I want to see the left's or the streets filled with the left's blood. These are the type of people that join ICE and murder women. Renee Nicole Good was murdered by an ICE agent, an ICE Nazi. These are not people that should be working for our government, American government. I'm ashamed and I'm embarrassed. I know Americans that travel abroad and don't say they're Americans because they're embarrassed. So is this the Make America Great Again? Is this what's so great about Renee's death? What's so fucking funny too? Because these guys just keep laughing and smiling and taking Snapchats and TikToks and whatever of us. I even see them with the investigative camera taking.
I'm sorry, it's a network problem.